Hello and welcome to Correro, the conversation table, where we discuss matters and analyze issues. Today we'll be looking at the Nigerian agricultural sector and of course looking at the productivity from that sector and what we can achieve generally from the sector. My name is Godwin Sunday. Well, we will dive into the conversation immediately after this break. Please stay with us.
Correro, your front row seat.
Now, for many, the Nigerian agricultural sector holds a massive potential with roughly 74 to 84 million hectares of arable land and agricultural employing about 35 to 40% of the workforce. The country has the natural foundation to be a global food powerhouse. Now, that's a general perspective. Yet, Nigeria faces a severe compounding food security crisis. The World Food Programme's Cadel Harmonize analysis projects 31.8 million Nigerians will face acute food insecurity between June and August 2025, up from 20 million in 2024. Food inflation hit 21.79% in June 2026, making basic staple unaffordable for millions. Despite the land and labor advantage, Nigeria now imports billions of dollars worth of food annually, a stark reversal from its self-sufficient agricultural exporter status at independence. Decades of oil reliance and policy neglect explain the shift. Today, several entrenched vulnerabilities limit output. The biggest driver is insecurity, banditry, terrorism, and community violence that have continued to displace farmers and render vast swaths of fertile land in the northwest, the north central, and the northeast inaccessible. When farmers cannot safely plant or harvest, national food supply shrinks directly, deepening the crisis. Now, understanding this paradox means diagnosing the structural bottlenecks choking production and exploring practical pathways to unlock Nigerians' agricultural wealth. Tonight on Correro, I'm joined by Dr. EMMANUEL, an agricultural economist and founder of Treco Agro App, to break down the challenges and the solutions. Well, Dr. EMMANUEL, it's a delight to have you joining me on Correro.
Same here. Good evening.
Good evening. Well, Dr. EMMANUEL, recent data shows that agriculture contributes roughly a quarter of Nigerians' GDP.
Yeah.
Now, it also employs about half of the workforce, remains dominated by smallholder farmers. Yet, food inflation and food insecurity remains a major concern. Now, despite agriculture contributing over 24% of Nigerians' GDP, millions of Nigerians still struggle with food affordability. This even brings me to that point where I'm asking at this point, as an agricultural economist, is Nigeria facing a food production crisis or a food distribution crisis?
Okay, I think we have to look at it from both angles. So there's crisis in our food production, and there's a crisis around the distribution. So let me start from production, for example. So you take a good look at most of our communities where food production happens, especially down north. That is where you have banditry, insecurity. So an average farmer is afraid to go to farm because of the crisis, the security crisis around. And then when you not move from that particular angle, then we also now come to distribution. Distribution is another big challenge. So where you have Nigeria losing over 1 trillion naira to post-harvest loss. So post-harvest loss, it has to do with food produced but cannot get to the market because of either road and other factors. So these challenges, it's actually is leading us to the food crisis we are suffering currently now. Now, when you also take good statistics of what the market was in 2024, that gave a projection to investment in 2025, when the borders were open, when we had open border policy around June 2025, it's affecting farmers. So whereby you invest say, or maybe you bought maize at 140,000 naira, 100 kg bags, and in 2026 you're selling it at 35,000 naira. So you're losing a whole good. They're losing like 105,000 naira as lost. Now when you also now look at it again for farmers who also took loans to farm because of their projection of 2024. The price was good, investing in agriculture was becoming interesting due to some policies of the past administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, getting to 2025 and 2026, the gap and the wound is there, where the price has crashed due to open border policy, and then looking at what you even invested as cost of production, it's not even up to it's now more than what you're getting after sale, because the borders are open and there's importation. Now, these countries we are importing from, one of the things the nation have done to them was to subsidize production. So right now, production in Nigeria is not that subsidized. Access to funding, especially again, these smallholder farmers that played the major role in production, is also having us to try to look. Let's now take a look that these farmers took loan. They struggle with access to funding. They can't even have access to funding. They don't have access to market. So at the end of the day, we're going to be having what we call the loss falls down to the farmer, who is not now interested in farming. So it's still going to leave us to that importation.
All right. Well, all right. So, before you even get deep into the analysis, Dr. Emmanuel.
Yes, sir.
So you're saying that insecurity has become the single biggest threat to food security in Nigeria, if I understand you correctly.
It's a big threat. The land that are arable are being possessed by bandits. So when the farm is not safe, the place you're working, if it's not safe, how do you want to get to the office? See, that is their office. It's not safe, so they can't even get to the office where they can now produce.
So at this point, so should food security now be treated as a national security issue rather than a merely agricultural issue?
Yes. You see, when the president declares state of emergency on agriculture, it's beyond just a declaration that farmers should go to farm. No, it's talking about the welfare of the farmers, the security of the farmers. All right, so it's war on food. See, the biggest war is the war of food. If we solve food crisis, a bit of our challenges are solved. A good percentage of our challenges are solved. So we need to look at food. This is the most vital.
So you're saying that at this point we should not declare a special state of emergency and of course a national emergency on food security at this point in time.
I'm saying we should declare. The president have declared. Now we're not only looking at
the president has not openly declared.
He mentioned yes. There's a state of emergency on agriculture, food security. Matter of fact, they had to now change the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. It was former Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development to now Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. So that was an intentional change of nomenclature, not just for the fun of it, but that it shows the seriousness of the federal government, that this is their commitment, that they are committed to food security.
Well, interesting. But then again, yes. Most small farmers in the country are experiencing a lot of difficulties even within the agricultural value chain.
Yes.
Is Nigeria investing enough in irrigation, mechanization, storage facilities, and rural infrastructure? Even looking away from the government, because there tend to be a lot of gaps even within the agricultural value chain, from the production to distribution. That's why I asked you at first, do we have a crisis within the production or distribution? Are we investing enough?
See, we have crisis, like I'll say again, we have crisis at the production level and also at the distribution level.
So are we investing enough?
So investing now, investing in agriculture at the moment, because of some of the infrastructures that it lacks, it takes faith, it takes boldness, it takes courage. I play in the agricultural sector, and sometimes you have sleepless nights because you're trying to manage your relationship with investors. You're also trying to manage the outcome of what your projections are. like I mentioned, in 2025, most of our investment were a prediction of what happened in 2023 and 2024. But unfortunately, borders were open, which the food price crashed. Now, was it a deliberate effort from the government? Not actually. It was not a deliberate effort to put farmers into debt. But because the government was trying to manage or absorb the market shock that the first subsidy has caused. So another challenge was also created. So because of this, investors are getting skeptical daily to want to invest in agriculture. I speak to some of my friends, some who originally, as of 2024, 2023, were investing 20 million, 50 million, 100 million in agriculture. As at right now, some of them are even struggling to invest 1 million into agriculture because of the forecast of market. That if I put in this, what if the government still open border next year? What if they open border next month again? So what has happened to my investment? Now, the prediction now that food crisis we're going to still have a surge in food crisis is because the country we're now importing from, if they know that they are the sole producer of food for us, it's going to also affect the price. The economy is not already stable, so we're going to keep having market shock in the Nigerian market ecosystem around food.
Well, interesting. Let's talk about the post-harvest loss, which you were trying to reiterate earlier on. Now, experts often argue that the Nigerian loses a significant share of its harvest after production.
Yes.
Now, is post-harvest loss a bigger challenge than lower production in itself?
Okay, so when it comes to food security, we don't want to underrate any of the factor, because we have to look at the downstream and the upstream around the agricultural value chain. So if there's no production, we can't even talk about post-harvest.
Post-harvest, yeah.
Okay, good. Now, there's a role low yield is. There's a factor in place, especially when you're expecting that at the worst level, maybe at your optimistic level or your pessimistic level projection, that 1 hectare of rice farm should give you a particular yield. Now, due to other circumstances like weather, poor management and the rest, and you have less, it's already a loss on the farmer already, right? Then the challenge here with post-harvest is the farmer has already seen his harvest. Now the problem now is, how do I get it to the market? One, we look at logistics. When it comes to agricultural logistics in Nigeria, there's a whole lot of gap. It needs a level of investment. I'm not talking about logistics vehicles moving humans to move food. Then again, we need to start looking at regulations. The regulations are too much. So you have this group, you call them the produce. They only store vehicles that are carrying food. The price of food is already high in the market. The cost of logistics is already high. Now I'm moving food, let's say from Sokoto down to Port Harcourt, and I'm going to be spending like 250,000 naira to settle different agencies.
What do you mean by settle?
Settlement is you
like
are
administrative charge or
administrative,
just to wet people's hand.
You are wetting, you are doing administrative, you don't even know which one is administrative, which one is wetting. Now, there are some specific states in Nigeria that if your truck is moving, they'll tell you the charge, that this is the cost, you can't go less than that. And you must pay before your truck moves. So they don't even care the lifespan, what happens to your produce if you are not moving. And some of these products are perishable goods. So it has a time frame for you to get to the market. So all of these things play a vital role. So when you're hiring a truck, the truck owners are making you understand that what you're paying as logistic cost, when you consider fuel, when you consider their labor, also consider that they're going to wet, or their hands are going to wet till they get to your final destination, which cost is also going to be added to what you have already. Now, at the end of the day, who pay those price? The final consumer. So these are challenges, and where we need actual investment. Then when you get into that, we also look at structuralization, mechanization, just like we have mentioned. Over 60% of farmers in our ecosystem here in Nigeria are smallholder farmers, and most of these holder farmers cannot even afford the services of mechanization, and some of them cannot even afford the cost of logistics. So when they are done producing, now they are at the mercy of off-takers to off-take from them and get to the market. And sometimes we now need local aggregators to be able to aggregate from them. So you see, the ecosystem is not that organized, and this is what I feel the Ministry of Agriculture should deliberately do in creating an organized system.
But this system has been like this for years, for decades.
Yes, it cannot. It should not continue.
It has been like this for
Yes.
decades. It's like every farmer now will subscribe to this process of the whole middleman system
Yes.
within the agricultural
Yes,
value
as
chain.
long as you don't have a solution, when there's no solution, and the closest
But
solution,
farmers are not speaking up.
it's not as if they're not speaking up.
Okay, their voices are mute, are minute.
There's what we call. There's a phrase I used to use. I call it soundless noise. You can be making noise, but it's soundless.
We've not seen agriculturists and farmers speak up to say that
Yes,
the middleman system doesn't favor them. It has been like that from time immemorial.
Yes. Now,
where farmers have to sort out their ways for the product to get to the final consumers.
Yeah.
Yet it's right now it's like a tradition, because that become like a recurring phenomenon and a common decimal factor within the Nigerian agricultural value chain.
Yeah.
Are you saying that farmers are dissatisfied with the system?
they are. We interact with farmers. Our applications, our solutions interact with farmers, and when we interact with farmers, we see their plight. Unfortunately, they can identify the problem, but over time they don't understand the solution yet.
But they pay.
So they have to.
They pay.
You pay for ignorance.
They don't pay for ignorance. They consent to the payment.
Yeah. Now this
is a consented payment. Nobody is coerced.
No.
Nobody's forced.
That. Now
nobody's under duress to make those payments. Farmers. Okay, please help me understand it.
Yes. Let me explain something to you. When a solution is the only solution that you submit to that solution. So that's what is happening. Do they know there's a problem? Yes. Do they have a solution to it? No. Now that is why we are advocating that this smallholder farmers should come together as clusters, cooperative. Why are we encouraging cooperative? We're encouraging cooperative because that is when their individual soundless voice can become a sound, can become a voice. Then it can speak. Now let us also go to farmers associations. And why do we have farmers associations? Farmers associations are meant to speak for the farmers. But what we have as farmers associations in Nigeria are political farmers, which first, their interest is not even the interest of their farmers, of their members, but the interest of the so-called leadership of the associations. So you just see some group of elite people come together and say, okay, we are so association commodity in quote, but not driven by members. Now, how do you know about this? When you ask these leaders to now give you the data of their farmers, to give you the data of their members, then that is where you start seeing the gap. That they told you that they have over 5 million members, but when they are to give you that data, they don't even have up to 100 data. They don't even have up to 100 farmers in their database. So you see it now. So when those people speak, they don't speak the language of the farmers. Matter of fact, all of them have their offices here in Abuja. They reside here in Abuja. So they don't even have a farm. But they are the leaders of the Farmers Association.
But so at this point, we can now authoritatively say that farmers are party to the offense.
Again, I think
that farmers are not being fair to Nigerians by not coming out to speak, even though that they are dissatisfied with the system.
I just told you.
At this point, no. You are an authority in the field. Can we hold farmers responsible for the various food scarcity, the food insecurity that we have across the country?
Everybody.
Looking at the statistics right now, it keeps going up. 74 to 84%. It's something to go by with.
You see, the small farmers,
they are silent about irregularities within the market.
Let me give you something.
Yes.
In Nigeria, as it is right now, the farmers are the one paying the subsidy of what you even think you are getting at a lesser price in the market. They use their family to farm without counting that as cost. They also subsidize how the farm gets to the off-takers. Now, like I mentioned, the body that should have speak for them is not even speaking for them. This body are looming around in the political corridor to tell the politicians, we have this number of members, we can give you this number of votes, we can do this. Now, they'll make our government believe that they are speaking for the farmers, And at the end of the day, whatever happens, end with them. Now, let me give you a scenario. Let's take a good look at the Uncle's Brass program. Why was it not as effective as it ought to be? It was very simple. The Bank of Agriculture, Central Bank of Nigeria, through its other partnering banks, we have to facilitate these funds to cooperatives, to clusters, so that it's easier for these farmers to be able to get access to funds. But you still see that a group of the associations will come, get this funding, provide the database of the farmers, and don't even get this money. Some of these farmers don't even know that there was something in Nigeria called Uncle's Brass program that they were meant to benefit from. Averagely, some of these farmers are not informed. There are some societies you're going to go, there are some communities you're going to go right now in Nigeria. There's no power supply. Sometimes they don't even have access to radio. Sometimes their radio, some stations close by 6 o'clock. Some of the radio stations close by 1 o'clock. There are some states I don't want to mention their name. By 1 o'clock daytime, station has closed because of cost of production of fueling and all of that. So these ones don't even have access to information. So the elites that get the information come to them and tell them. There was a time one of those associations got to my village. They met with my father and other community members and asked, there's a parliament coming from the government, give us your name, give us your NIN, give us your information. And those information were provided, even with a fee for application. Then it goes like that. So when you want to do something genuine, when you come, they have already been tortured, be scammed,
Dr. ABUHSON,
yes.
What you say right now makes
Yes.
a lot of sense. But then, in practical terms,
yes,
the inflation on food right now still stands at about 21.79%.
yeah,
And Nigerian farmers, which you've identified the challenge as the off-takers, which we popularly known as the middlemen,
yes,
are part of the reasons why we're experiencing some of these challenges within the agricultural value chain. At this point, should we, as a people, continue food importation to stabilize the food prices? Because just the figures in May that we're reeling out, or should we aggressively begin to protect local farmers who are not ready to protect themselves, who are not even ready to even speak up? Should we continue in this narrative?
No, I think let's clarify that question.
Please help me.
Yes, they are speaking. I just said it is soundless.
You're saying, so when the person is speaking and the voices doesn't resound,
So what
it's
we
not
need to do-
echoing,
yes. So
it
what
has
we
no
should do-
impact.
yes, what we
it
should
means that it's more of a toothless bulldog.
Yes,
So
now-
we can now say that Nigerian farmers generally at this point, if they are all voices are not even being heard by the government. That is, they're not speaking well enough. They are not carrying out placard to protest. They're not boycotting any system. So they are in support of the whole food insecurity that we are experiencing in the country. Should we begin to import food so that the prices can stabilize?
Let's be fair to both sides.
All right, please.
Yes, because I see this platform as a platform to educate both the viewers and also our farmers, and also perhaps also speak to the government. Are our farmers speaking? Yes, they are. Now I want to take you through a journey. An average farmer that is into food production, after producing maize or whatever product, either cash crops, grains, or perishable goods, some of them don't even have the facility or the capacity, the finance for storage. So they are always at the mercy of the off-takers. Now, why do they subscribe to the off-takers? Where do we have post-harvest loss? Let's go back. Is that these farmers have produced, but they cannot sell. Lack of access to the market. So we need to look at all of this critically. So the people that have been able to create the market and have access to market are the middlemen. All right. So are they speaking? Yes. Perhaps not in the language we want them to speak. Now let us come back to food importation. From last year to this year, what has been able to crash the price of food is importation. Now, what is the danger it has to our economy? That now it is now discouraging farmers to go to produce. And then when importation stop, for example, or when something also happen in those countries we are importing from, if there's scarcity, it's going to also still affect us. So we're still going to now be battling with the little that is available and the little that can come in. You see, our agricultural ecosystem, our agricultural value chain has been broken already, and it's been broken at the distribution, the production, the processing, and the rest. And what we are trying to ask the government to do, not just the government now, also even the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, to open its arms more to private-public partnership, or we can say the public-private partnership, so that the public, they should regularize and then regulate, create an environment conducive enough for private entities to come and invest in agriculture.
Well,
but when we put it to, let's see, when we put it to importation is why food price is going down currently, and it's already affecting farmers that took loan. That's why I said let's also be merciful.
Why you say importation? Well, there is narrative also.
Yes,
Dr. ABUHSON.
Yes,
that right now, that more Nigerian farmers are becoming more lazy and hiding under the guise and of insecurity, banditry, terrorism, community violence, and all of this. You disagree?
Yes.
So you saying that this?
Let's go back.
Please go ahead.
You know, it's easier to sit to have a armchair conversation and think other people are not doing anything. I traveled to these communities. I've been to major states of the Federation. We are hardworking people, very resilient. Matter of fact, there are some states you go to right now, even the State Ministry of Agriculture will tell you that particular community, be careful. Let me give you an example of Kaduna State, for example. We are to do a project with the Kaduna Agricultural Development Agency, KADA. And why we asked that we need some land for some farmers, there's some space they said that this place are red spots because of insecurity. However, this place have fertile land for what we want to do, but insecurity cannot take people there. What are they farming that they get kidnapped and they are paying 10 million, 50 million naira for ransom? And sometimes if this ransom cannot be paid, they die. So it's really, I would say that we should tackle the challenge. You see, often as Africans, we try to cure symptoms, not the root cause. So let's go to the root cause. Why are we here? Why are we where we are today?
Well, Dr. ABUHSON, again, you know the part of the laziness, which of course you've been able to help us understand. There is also this part where Nigerian farmers are shying away from embracing technology, and as such, it is also crippling the entire agricultural value chain. When you look at the whole introduction of technology into the system, so what role can mobile technology even play in improving productivity among small farmer holders who account for most of Nigerians' food production?
All right. So basically, with our experience, because I'll be speaking more from experience now. So from my experience, often when we try to build technology, you see the gatekeepers, the regulators. They'll tell you Nigerians, there's a literacy level, and we should care for this particular solution. It's not going to work. And over time, I've come to argue it that it's not the literacy per se that is not making the adaptation of technology work. It is the consistent perspective of the gatekeepers and how they have discouraged technology providers to service our farmers. All right. So we create a system which we believe that we need to empower our people to be able to make use of the technology. First of all, by clustering, then continuous development, continuous human capital development. We need to keep training them on how to use those technology, and just like all other nations are doing.
But are Nigerian farmers actually embracing technology?
Yes. So far so good. From our interactions, they are embracing it. You see, when
in a scale of 1 to 10,
yeah, I'll say over 8.
But let's leave that thought there. At that point, Dr. ABUHSON. We'll take a short break right now, and when we come back, we will be able to also look at the statistics, and also Dr. ABUHSON will help us talk about the technological space, even as it involves Nigerian farmers. Please go nowhere as the show continues in a moment. And you're welcome back. I'm still with Dr. EMMANUEL ABUHSON, and we were talking about agriculture in Nigeria. Now, Dr. EMMANUEL, before we went on that break, I was trying to find out from you,
yes, sir,
how prepared are Nigerian farmers to adapt to precision agriculture AI-driven farming and even looking at digital marketplaces, how prepared are Nigerian farmers for a technology?
All right. So I want to speak from my experience. So we have a partnership going on currently with Digital Green, Farmers Chat, an AI precision farming platform. And based on our calculation, we are projecting that in 6 months we'll be able to onboard 100 farmers. Funnily, in less than 3 months, we're able to have over 800 farmers on that particular platform. So you can see that the readiness is there. When the farmer understands that this particular solution will be able to give them what they want, the solution they're looking for, they are ready to jump on it. Matter of fact, an average Nigerian farmer wants to experiment what to make their farm better. The question sometimes is the cost. See, we just identify them as smallholder farmers, and some of this technology come with heavy costs, especially distribution, especially access to them. So what are we doing even in Niger State? I want to really appreciate the Niger State farmers, because this is where the openness. So when the governor of Niger State come on board and he said he's the farmers governor, you can see some of the practicals when you go down to Niger State to see what is happening there. So we had this conversation again with farmers. We can get you the mobile telephone numbers, mobile phones, and you do easy buy. You can pay with your produce, or you can pay with money. And some of them were ready. Yes, we can.
That's like a trade by barter system. Yeah.
So we know you cannot afford to pay with cash. So give us your produce, and then we give you mobile phones. And they were ready. We did a test with some of the farmers, and I can tell you the relationship is going it's going fine. Now, what are we trying to do? For them to be able to assess even the technologies first, and then they started onboarding on the platforms. We see what is happening within their farm, and we're encouraging them, like, this is how it's been done.
Well, you can see all of it because of the proximity of Niger State to the Federal Capital Territory.
No,
have you test run this particular theory even in the far northern part of Nigeria? Let's take it down to Zamfara. To Zamfara, then before we move down to the interior part of Cross River State.
Yes,
yeah.
Cross River. Yes. Matter of fact, we have people from Cross River always calling us now and then. So they want these solutions. It is how we can now de-risk these solutions, like the accessibility, the cost of it, and bringing them to clustering. I keep advocating for clustering. Why clustering? When they are in cluster, it's easier for them to be able to finance this technology. It's quite expensive.
So when you talk about this clustering and all this preparedness of Nigerian agriculturists,
yes,
in order to even boost food production,
exactly,
and you're trying to look at this AI system and also the whole agricultural value chain in general, you're saying that they're ready. I'm curious. So
yes,
what's the demography that is ready? Is it in terms of demography? Let's place it even on
young
demographic. So how many young people are interested in agriculture?
I will tell you that our young people are ready. In fact,
you're saying that young people are leaving white collar jobs right now to venture into agriculture.
The white collar job. Where is the white collar job? And averagely, you see young people who are trying to go into processing, making smoothies and all of that, into any of the agricultural value chain. All right. So you can see young people playing heavily there. Then when you also go to older people from the age of 40 to 60, you see how eager they are to dive into the use of this technology. Now, if down to even use of mechanization, you see, the availability of this product is what we're talking about. So let's take it. Why I keep praising the governor of Niger State? Let me go back. You see, a tractor, to get an average tractor, one tractor will cost you at 25 million naira. Which individual farmer of these smallholder farmers can do that? Then we come to tilling machines. There are some tilling machines that cost close to 1.5 million, 1 million, 2 million naira, hand tilling machines. Which of these farmers too can actually get that when they are battling to farm 1 hectare of farmland? But when we bring them to cluster, how is Israel, for example, winning in the agricultural ecosystem? It's by clustering. You see, there are kibbutz systems. The kibbutz systems is to bring cluster. So we share the cost of production. Then when we share the cost of production, we also share the returns. So the thing we keep telling our farmers is, instead of them doing individually that has not produced them results, is to cluster. Now, let's come back to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. So the Federal Ministry of Agriculture now had a directorate of cooperatives. And the cooperative is to also help cluster, because that is the only way we can actually empower these smallholder farmers, making them understand clustering. Now, let's now see the other challenges now that we can also be confronting, where a husband and a wife, because you said let them cluster, you want to empower them, they'll now want to bring the name of their grandchildren, the one that is dead, the one that is yet alive, the one that they are thinking of giving birth to in the next 20 years. They'll bring the names and say all of these ones are members of our cooperative. Now, because the funding and the project was designed around those specific numbers. So when only 2 people get the resources, or get the resources for 10 people, it overweights them, and then production slacks. Failure has already come. Again, come back to Uncle Abdul's program, wide field. So 20 people will come and collect the fund made for 1,000 people. It's going to fail. There's going to be mismanagement. Well, all right. So our farmers.
Dr. ABUHSON,
Yes.
I know you have a lot to say, but before I even allow you to go, because I've also been saying that our time is fast spent, I can see you've been holding brief for Governor of Niger State. That's Umar Bako.
Yeah, but I'm not holding brief for him.
You've been holding brief for Umar Bako.
No. We appreciate what he's doing around.
It's a good time for me to also speak to the Niger State Governor, because at the end of the day, we have to send a voucher to Niger State for them to do the needful to Rapid TV. It's a very good time to, because you've spoken about the governor for more than once.
Yes.
And of course, that really caught my attention.
We want.
I know you want more, but we'll send the voucher through you to Dr. Bako. But it's still fair.
Yes.
It's still
we
fair.
want to emulate what he's doing.
But as we begin to wrap up
Yes.
right now, because I've been saying that our time is fast spent. That's just on a lighter note. Now, looking ahead to 2030, do you believe Nigeria can become a net food exporter, or will food import remain a necessity in Nigeria, going by the recent statistics and the trillions of naira that has been invested even in the importation of food into the country right now? Okay. Your quick take, please.
All right. So I just want to say this. I've seen a lot of good programs from the Ministry of Youth Development, which has to do with Youth in Agribusiness Land Trust Fund. You also go to Ministry of Agriculture. The challenge, I would say, is if the execution of those programs, policies, from NISA, which is to the RICS Agriculture, Central Bank of Nigeria, the ministries, the financial institutions, NIAC, Nigeria Agricultural Insurance Corporation, if there's no synergy along all of this sector, if there's no synergy, cross-sector synergy, we might not be able to achieve what we want to achieve as a nation, to become a food net. It's going to remain us importing. Now, let me also let me say this clearly without mixing words. As it is right now, farmers are afraid to go to the farm. It puts the federal government in another bad situation. Secondly, because of the food crash and then the hard access to funds for these smallholder farmers, when you see a farmer taking a loan and is paying back 50%, sometimes 60%, 80% of the loan, and then the food has crashed, the food price has crashed, and then the farmer has run into debt, it gets discouraged in investing into agriculture. So at the end of the day, it comes down to us still trying to cushion the effect by importing, and it's going to play a whole lot on the economy. Do we have the arable land? Yes. Do we have the human power? Yes. So do we have the mechanization? Sometimes not adequate. So I will say that whatever it takes the government to first tackle insecurity, we should do it at all costs. At all costs. When our nation is safe, then you can ask our farmers to go back. Then the Central Bank of Nigeria should not just give loans, should regulate and make funding for financial institutions more, it should be more flexible, especially when it comes to funding agriculture. There are some countries you go to, if you're a farmer, you get subsidy in terms of if a fuel of price for per liter is 1,300, for example. And you're a farmer, you can get it as low as 700.
I believe you're talking about Rwanda.
Not just Rwanda.
Yeah.
They are countries.
No, I believe you're talking about Rwanda.
New Zealand, like that.
No, I'm talking using African as a case study. I believe you're coming from the Rwanda perspective.
So there should do subsidy, especially in those regards. And you are going to see that cost of production will really, really go down. And then again, I'm begging the federal government, don't give state government again the fertilizer to share. Minister of Agriculture, there's already a directorate cooperative. Let's strengthen these cooperatives. Let's have a quality database, not just political farmers. Let's have access to these farmers and let these farmers directly benefit. We know these farmers, and we can get these resources to them, so it does not end in the hands of politicians that end up selling this product again that is meant to be subsidized to farmers. So I'm appealing to the federal government, and I'm also appealing now to our farmers. We are asked to speak out. Please, they say Soros, okay, speak aloud. I wish I can speak all the 3 major languages in the country. Speak so that they can hear our voice. Thank you.
Well, Dr. Emmanuel, you've also mentioned political farmers over and over again. Maybe we won't bring you again. You tell us what political farming is all about. Because,
I'll be glad to
because
elaborate.
The thing looks like a very nice concept, even within the academic space. But then it's subject to also academic studies at this point. I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel.
Thank you so much
for doing this with us tonight.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, this is how far we can go on Correro. Do not forget that you can leave your thoughts, you can leave your comments on our various social media handle currently showing on your screen. And you can also download the Rapid TV app from your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. My name is Godwin Sunday. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do enjoy the rest of your night rest.